Twitter's most pathetic man.
If you follow James Cage White on Twitter, you might see a wholesome Chinese man trying to learn English and make it big in America.
Okay.
But if you read the replies, you'll see a fan base that absolutely despises him. But
Okay.
what did he do? You see, James treats his Twitter like his personal diary, like the kind you would hide from your sibling diary. From the outside, it seems nice, but as you
Wait, hold on. Let me get a toothpick, bro.
delve into his tweets, you realize he shares every thought, action, and opinion that you shouldn't share publicly. He's tweeted
Okay.
about being a
What do you mean that you shouldn't? I just invited a lucky fan to sleep with me. Just kidding.
action and
Horse.
opinion
A mosquito sucking my blood. I catch it and I sentence it to death in the name of God.
that you shouldn't share.
That's not too
publicly.
bad.
He's tweeted about being a lonely loser, desperate for, in his words, a white woman, scamming his fans with crypto whilst complaining he's broke, telling everyone he was going to beat the gay out of his hypothetical son.
Oh. Oh.
Starting beef with Australian man Max about putting watermelon seeds in his hole, watching sex scene compilations from The Witcher, the video game. Now you
What?
think all these tweets would come from somebody who's an incel, but no. He's married, well, in an arranged marriage where he's not allowed to take photos with his wife and his father-in-law hates him, but married nonetheless.
What?
And he has a kid. All of this has led to him being one of the most interesting, frustrating, and hated figures on Twitter.
I think he has an interesting mind. His mind sounds very interesting.
But not hated in the way someone like Brendan Schaub is hated. Though James does have an audience of people
Hey,
who hate
twins!
watching. He's more of a, God, this is so frustrating to watch, but I can't look away. Kind of like a car wreck that never ends. But is this all an act? These days, it seems everyone's putting on a character from iShowSpeed to Keemstar. So is James putting on a character when he claims his in-laws hate him, he can't touch his wife, and he is not autistic? Is that actually true? Well,
What?
today we'll find out. Starting out on Vine, James found the secret formula, amassing over 440,000 followers.
Okay.
He would document the mundane things in his life in kind of a charming, childlike way. But even in these times, there were signs pointing to what was to come. Many of James's Vines involve him talking about wanting a girlfriend.
Single, I'm handsome. I want to find a girlfriend here. Please help me. Thank you so much.
Y'all gonna find him a girlfriend, man. He just wants something on the side. He just wants someone on the side, chat. Y'all gonna help
Not just
him?
any girlfriend, but a white girlfriend specifically.
Check this dog. I like white woman.
In fact, it seems going back to much of his old content, apart from his catchphrase, very cool, very swag, I like it, the one constant is his need for a girlfriend, or as he puts it, a white woman. Now, when somebody is this desperate for a girlfriend, there's generally a reason why. While some guys lie about their height or weight on their Tinder profile, James took it a step further, because if you can't tell
There's no
about
way
their
this is
height
real.
or weight on their Tinder
There's no way he actually made a Tinder profile like this. Swag warrior looking for a white woman.
profile, James took it a step further, because if you can't tell, James isn't actually his real name. So he decided to come up with a fake name to market himself, specifically to white women. He settled on the admittedly memorable James Cage White. But why James Cage White?
My name is James Cage White. James is from James Bond.
Oh, okay.
Cage is from Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
White is from white women.
Hey. He's honest? He's being honest?
Combined them together and made it my name. Very cool, very swag. I like it. I'm good at naming.
As Vine shut down, James needed another platform to transfer his talents to. The most common direction Viners went at this time was YouTube with the likes of Jake Paul. But James had different plans. He transferred his online presence
Twitter.
to the perfect place. Twitter.
It is the
As
perfect
James
place
shifted
for
over
him.
to Twitter, his opinions, gripes, and struggles would become
Wait.
place. Twitter. As
On the street, there's a lot of men who have girlfriends. Some of the girls are very beautiful and nice. I envy these men very much. I jealous them very much. I hate them very much. Why don't I have that luck? I want to be like them very, very much. And then this is staring at you when they're saying it.
James shifted over to Twitter, his opinions, gripes, and struggles would become even more apparent. Because unlike Vine, James could allow his unfiltered thoughts to spill out in a stream of consciousness.
Oh, he's just kidding.
Which left him sharing details of his life with the entire internet, such as his love of playing with himself, accompanied by his post-nut guilt,
I mean, that's valid though. That's valid though.
Working an insurance job and quitting after a few days of training, and like Vine, his many daily activities. Also taking an ungodly amount of selfies. You see, every single tweet he makes is accompanied by a selfie. Would you tweet a selfie with this?
I'm almost
At least he doesn't
36.
hate himself.
I still can't find a girlfriend. I'm a total failure and loser. I disappointed my parents so much. I'm very shameful of myself.
But you had an arranged marriage. I don't understand. It's not correlating. You're married with, you have a child.
One look through his Twitter and it's obvious that years later, James has held on to this childlike attitude that made him famous on Vine. This includes his ideas of fame. As James shows us, his life goal is to be a celebrity. How? Well, who knows? But the best way to understand it is like a child saying, when I grow up, I want to be famous.
Okay.
Not understanding that, for the most part, people are famous for a reason. It's not to say he hasn't tried to capture some of the hottest trends a decade later, such as the Ice Bucket Challenge and Gangnam Style, which he's been doing for the last 10 years.
2022 is insanity. Especially the Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style in 2022 is crazy.
To become signature moves of his. It's likely that what goes through James's head is, this made me famous years ago, so it will surely work now. Now you might look at James's age and say, a man that age behaving like a 15-year-old, he must be pretty useless. But James insists he has valuable skills. In fact, when confronted on his skills, James states how his skills are,
Water Bucket Challenge, Gangnam Style. I have 2 words. Don't watch bad sight and M ... Take care of my son.
What?
for a complex creature, he is one of many contradictions.
What does he do for work? Like, what? I'm good guy. I don't gamble. I don't smoke. I don't drink beer.
I know this might be shocking to hear, but James is a massive hypocrite. So it's very common to see him shit on people who do something only for him to do that exact same thing later. He states that he's a hygiene guy and always washes his hands after pooping or emming. And speaking of, if you want to em, I have just the thing for you. Adam and Eve have been kind enough to sponsor this video. November's almost over, and you know what that means. You can actually go to Adam and Eve.
Hold on, let me check out Adam and Eve. Let me see if they really got it like that. Okay. Wow. Most popular sex toys. Vibrator. Her favorites. Rabbits. Clitoral. And wands. Those are her top 3 favorite. Most wanted. Realistic. Dildos. Most wanted. Realistic. Vibrating. Huge. Okay. Masturbator. Hot pics. Fleshlight. Realistic, pocket pussy, okay? Anal toys, best for the back door. Butt plugs, prostate, trainer kits. Enhance the experience. Lingerie, lubes, bondage.
Eve.com right now and use the discount code GHOST to get 50%
that's why I was waiting on. That's why I didn't buy anything. Ghost.
Delivery in Canada
Ghost.
or the US. Yes, they are actually the sponsor of this video. I thought it was very fitting. Now, James will wash his hands after emming, yet when his child pisses on something, instead of, you know, washing it, he'll blow dry it. Including the child's dirty diapers.
So that means, like, you can be sitting on his son's piss, and you'll never know. You just have baby piss on your butt.
Now, you might get mad at James for these things, but keep in mind, these things aren't happening because of his choices, but in his words, fate. Why can't James get a job? Fate. Why can't James get a girlfriend?
Fate. Stay.
Why
Fate
did James
zero.
spend all of his unemployed
garbage.
money on Steam games? Fate. Fate is the most important concept in James's life, apart from maybe rewards. Like a rat in a psychological experiment, he does all of his menial tasks as a reward. Eating grapes in a psychological experiment, he does all of his menial tasks as a
James, I think there's something in your refrigerator. Can you go check that out for me, James? Like there's like a bug, there's like a rattlesnake over there, James. Go check that out for me.
Reward. Eating grapes, reward. Gangnam Style, reward. Kissing a picture of his wife, reward.
Then I guess I have no choice but to offer a reward.
But back to Fate. James believes we don't have any free will and we can't control anything. It is all fate, therefore there is no point in fighting the inevitable.
Facts.
This gives him a very nihilistic outlook on life. Now, philosophers have argued for a long time that we don't have free will, but usually they don't use that to justify quitting their jobs or spending their entire savings on Steam games. I mean, James says we can't.
Hey, but the Steam games can save your life. Because instead of committing in real life, you hop on Sims 4 and you can commit in the game. Instead of crying about how depressing your real life is, in Sims 4, you create your perfect life. You know what I'm saying? Just, you can live through the game. And then once you get off the game, you go back to realizing how fucking ass your life is. But then you always have the goodness of going back to the game. Like,
Can't control
shout out
fate,
Sims
which
4.
is why it's not his fault when he spends his money on video games, because not him nor anybody else could have prevented this from happening.
Exactly.
It is all fate.
I bought FL Studio to make music. That is not my choice. It's my fate. Also, I bought Witcher 3 DLC. It's also my fate.
Because he keeps wanting to watch The Witcher's lobster sex scene. That was a lobster that crawled into the bath with her, right?
James points to examples of celebrities such as the royal family and Elon Musk to prove his point, as no matter how hard we try, we will never have what they have. This is a perfect excuse why if you never find a partner, job, or meaning in life, you're hopeless because you can't control it. Spend your rent check on Steam games? Fate. Kill your child through your own neglect? Fate. Get your car repossessed because you're 5 months behind on payments?
That's fate.
But James doesn't mean this in a metaphysical way, as in, if nothing matters, we may as well all be happy. It's more of a way to escape any personal responsibility for his failures. Speaking of which,
I just think sometimes things are fate. You know what I'm saying? Like if they really wanted the money for the car, they would come and take the money out my account. But they didn't. They chose to take the car instead. That's fate.
James has one of the strangest addictions I've ever seen, and while it's not eating rocks, it's just as odd. Buying Steam games. Not playing them per se, but buying them. Rather than getting your dopamine hit from wins or achievements, James gets it from hitting that checkout button on the Steam page. A nasty addiction he's tried to quit. Getting his fix twice a week, his addiction is usually fueled by his fan base. And
so his addiction is buying games. You might as well play the lottery. How is the addiction buying games? You don't even get nothing out of it if you're just buying them. He should be a Twitch streamer. He has all those games he could play. Stream on Twitch, bro. You probably be better than me.
And the longest he's ever gone is an eye-watering 12 days. Although the average amount of time he goes without buying Steam games seems to be anywhere from 2 to 5 days, as seen by his many countdowns. He justifies it in his head that if the games are free, people donate him money with the express goal of using it on Steam games, or just straight up donating him games, he hasn't broken the streak. However, if the game is cheap, he can still buy it. And while it may break the streak, he's not a bad guy. It was simply fate that made him buy the game.
Yes.
Have you ever considered donating money to James to help with his family, as he claims?
Wait.
Made him buy the game. If you're
My wife is pregnant, but I don't have a job. It's very hard to find a job. Please donate to me through handsome James Cage White.
ever considered donating money to James to help with his family, as he claims, I can guarantee you that money will go straight to games. Once the streak is broken, he will inevitably restart counting the days he hasn't bought a game from Steam.
But what if he instead gets depressed and then he goes into a dark spiral?
Which makes you question, if the streak is going to be broken by fate every single time, what's the point in keeping it in the first place? People have donated quite a few games to James over the years. Here are some of them. Job Simulator, Go-Go Nippon, Desktop Girlfriend. Here are some of them. Should
I play Job Simulator?
Simulator, Go-Go Nippon,
Go Nippon. This is like my type of game.
Desktop Girlfriend, Furry Feet,
Damn it.
Anime Armpits, just to name a few. Girlfriend, Furry Feet, Anime.
Let's go!
Man, this is some fire ass gameplay.
Anime Armpits, just to name a few. Now you may wonder if James is begging for money in games, he must be pretty broke, but you'd be surprised to hear he's a bit of a businessman. His number one business is e-begging in exchange for, at most, a follow back and a thank you.
E-begging!
If you pay him enough money, of course. Not enough money, and sorry buddy, you're not getting that follow back.
Maybe if you donated $5 instead.
On even lower, including guilting people into donating to him by using his newborn baby and dying father as bait. After which, receiving the money from people concerned about his family, he spends it on the most important thing in his life.
Games.
Steam games that he'll play once or not at all. Yes, the addiction is that strong. While he has been employed a few times, he always quits his job without fail, usually within a very short time frame, including the time he was training for an insurance job, accompanied by this iconic tweet.
There's a man in my room. I can't tell you guys more.
He's selling his butt. Chat, he's booty selling.
I sure there are easier ways to get PS5.
I am gay.
James claims that he will only work for a job that has a certain salary, despite him having barely any work experience or discernible skills. But James is more than just an e-beggar. He's gotten pretty smart with this entrepreneur stuff, including trying to scam people with a fake crypto he dubbed James Whitecoin, selling his old translated diaries on Amazon Books for cash, also creating a game, which I have footage of right here,
A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z.
but perhaps the most iconic
That nigga is iconic, bro. He's an icon. He's not a pathetic Twitter man. This man right here is a straight up icon.
James money-making scam was his t-shirt, which is a pretty scandalous story in and of itself. In order to obtain more money to waste, James has designed a couple of t-shirts, all of which I'm certain he took a photo of himself, drew random stuff in MS Paint, and printed to sell. The first website to host these shirts was Teespring. While he was promoting this shirt, his fans asked him on his opinion on what he would do if his hypothetical son was gay. Now, what you have to understand, despite what he thinks, James has very little, if any, real fans. His quote-unquote fans are people who interact with his posts to goof on him and to get him to say stupid shit. So in this instance, when prompted, James said this.
Drinking medicine again, 2 times a day. If my child is gay or lesbian, I will educate him or her. Maybe I will beat him. I will try my best to make him back to normal. If still doesn't work, I have to accept the fate. My wife may not accept this fate though.
He also followed it up with,
I just want my child to be normal person. I don't want my child to be different person like LGBT. How is that wrong? I don't care what other people are LGBT or not. I just want my child to be normal. How is this wrong? I said nothing wrong. I will never accept a LGBT child.
This prompted his fan base to contact Teespring and get him removed off the platform. In response to this, James said everyone else was to blame except for himself. How could the haters and trolls allow such a thing to happen? And how was he supposed to support himself without his t-shirt money? Eventually, James was able to use other sites such as Bonfire to sell his shirts, thwarting the haters' plans for good. James has used these money-making techniques in order to support his Steam game purchasing addiction.
I need to know how much money he's made from his shirts, bro. I got to. It's a strong curiosity, bro.
Even though he claims the money goes to his wife and child, but how do you be an unemployed e-begging loser and manage to have a wife and child? Well, James did eventually end up finding a wife, believe it or not, although she's not white and he didn't exactly find her. After striking out and dating multiple times, even with the help of his mother, James was down on his luck. So his family paid another family 10 grand USD in order for them to take in their unemployed man-child of a son and give him a wife. James was set up for an arranged marriage in which they immediately had a child. But as he finally achieved this goal, kind of, there was trouble in paradise. Turns out while James's father-in-law will take his family's money for his own flesh and blood, that doesn't mean James is welcome. James has gone into great detail in his diary, I mean Twitter, about his quarrels with his father-in-law, which include not letting James sleep in the same bed as his wife, instead having to sleep on bunk beds. Also not allowing James to name his own son.
I'm sorry, father-in-law. That son is my semen. Not yours. Okay, buddy? So unless you're about to take this semen too, You have no right to decide the name of my child. So you have two options. Shut the fuck up or bend over. Like, let's keep it up. Like, you gotta be straight into the point with them.
The in-law's given name for kid is fucking stupid and dumb. Even my mother doesn't like it, but she doesn't want me divorced with wife. Kid will have no father or mother. Kid with single parent is very miserably.
According to James's Twitter, his son is Peter Cage White. But evidence, also provided by James,
Peter Cage White. So nasty, bruh. It's so nasty. Thank you, Makolo, for the sub.
Shows that his father-in-law and wife would not let him name the child. James even threatened to divorce his wife if she didn't let him name his own son, assuming they came to a compromise and allowed James to pick the English name for his son because they didn't give a shit. But this also might be James coping for not being allowed to name his son. James's treatment of his son is also interesting, to say the least. He constantly posts about how good of a father he is.
Maybe he's just a great father.
With his baby looking like it's dead. I mean, look at this expert father.
He's probably just the baby just sleeping, man. Like,
Yet
why are you hating on James for?
Looking like it's dead. I mean,
it's sleeping, man. It's tired.
Look at this expert father. Now, I am no father myself, but leaving a baby sleeping on their side like this seems quite dangerous. And it is. In fact, a baby sleeping on their side can cause sudden infant death syndrome, but any attempts to communicate these are in vain because James doesn't listen to advice he doesn't want to hear, which can be incredibly frustrating for onlookers, especially when it's literally about trying to keep his infant son alive. Now,
but what you're failing to comprehend, I guess you're not listening. I guess you think you're just smarter than everyone else. It's fate. If the baby decides out of nowhere it wants to have that syndrome and die, it's fate. There's nothing he can do about it. It's fate.
This could be because James has a massive ego. Whether that was a result of his upbringing or his internet notoriety is unclear, but he's quick to dismiss people who tell him things he doesn't want to hear, which has further caused people to hate James. He has so many problems that could easily be fixed, but he refuses to leave his comfort zone even slightly, instead opting for excuses or blaming fate.
I'm just saying, look at this sexy man, right? Obviously, fate was just not on his side with a lot of things, bro.
So it's no wonder that James has attracted the disdain of many online. He's kind of like a car crash that you can't look away from. All of these people have become enemies of James. One of the most prolific being Australian man Max, or as you may know him, Max Mofo. Max has been a follower of James for quite some time, and the relationship has been a bit tumultuous. Perhaps the two most iconic of their interactions were when Max told James that he eats like a pig after James posted this disgusting video. Now allegedly...
Yo, normally when I hear people smack, I get irritated, but the way he eats it's just laughable. That nigga just have just laughable smacks, bruh.
Calling someone a pig in China is one of the worst things you can say, along with a rat and a dog. James, insulted, blocked Max and said he would never forgive him.
So if I'm walking in China, I'm like, look at that rat over there. Oh, then that means Chinese don't like New York. If there's rats everywhere. Oh no, they might be allergic to that.
To unblock him shortly after being pressured by his fans. Since this interaction, James has had a suspicious lack of open-mouthed selfies on his Twitter. The other legendary interaction between these two was when James posted a picture of the watermelon seeds he was eating. Max responded that James should put the watermelon seeds in his penis. James, in a fit of rage, blocked Max and said the only way he would forgive him was to offer him Chinese lessons for $100 for half an hour of work.
This nigga is a goofball. I don't know what's serious and what isn't. This man's a straight goofball, bro.
This one, for some reason, seemed to enrage James more than the pig comments, as he said he told his mother about where Max told him to put the watermelon seeds. Even to this day, when James posts pictures of him eating watermelon seeds, people remind him of the ancient Australian tradition of putting them in your urethra. Another perhaps serious advice giver to James was a Twitter account known as Lord Eisen, who seemingly tried to give actual advice to this man, which is kind of like teaching a fish to sing.
Uptown girl, she's been living the up-down world.
Even when it was obvious to everyone watching that this is a complete waste of time as James doesn't listen to anything he doesn't want to hear, the man kept at it. James ended up blocking Lord Eisen for giving him genuine advice on how to improve his life, which is just so funny. Although Lord Eisen is an interesting character as he would reply to literally every tweet by James until he was blocked. Now James's replies are full of people actively mocking him, pretending to support him, or just marveling at the mess that his life is. And if it was just his own life, I mean, who really cares? But the fact this man has a child that he is actively responsible for is concerning. James is
that
claiming
might be a
he
little
will give
bad.
his son all of his tools to be successful, such as his Xbox and the current version of FL Studio Pro, which he spent at least $150 on and has no idea how to use.
His son can play The Witcher 3 and become one of the world's best gamers. That's what he's doing, getting all these games for. He's getting his son prepared to be good at multiple games so he can choose the avenue he wants to take and be successful. Because that's his fate, to guide his son into a successful path. W. James, man.
What's even weirder is James's belief that his son will take on his great legacy like he's Tyson Fury. As James continues to spew his whole life on Twitter, he builds more lore for himself and creates more enemies. But the most sinister enemy in James's life comes from his own flesh and blood, that being his mother. It's clear from the way she treats James that she thinks he needs some sort of taking care of, which in all fairness he probably does, but this also leads James to being in his late 30s and still unable to do basic tasks that a fucking teenager could
Like
do.
what?
James and his mother seem to cling to the idea of legacy. Combine this with her helicoptering him, and you have a recipe for failure. There was an
Her helicopter? What does that mean? She swings her cooch around, her clitoris does circles? What does helicoptering mean for a woman?
arc where she would set James up for dates and presumably come on them herself, or at least be heavily involved with them. Now, I don't have to tell you that bringing your mother on a date is a setup for failure, and it's no wonder James has had zero luck in dating apart from his arranged marriage that in all likelihood was a move from his family to continue the legacy no matter the cost. According to James, his mother threatened to off herself and his father if he married a divorced woman with a child. So it's fair to assume that in the process of dating, James's mother has more input than himself.
I would test that gangster personally. I'm testing it. You'll do what? Prove it. You feel me? Like, how are you hurting me with that? Like,
in fact, there was a Chinese dating show that James appeared on that basically confirms this. James appeared on the show Mortal Delight in 2018 in an attempt to find love. Unsurprisingly, his mother accompanied him on the date as well.
有点。那为什么最终你还是来了呢？他才挡不住我的脚步吧。
However, it seems James actually did pretty well for himself to start the date. While he clearly isn't very smooth, he's not bombing.
Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away.
I got no words. I have no words. We're keeping it pushing. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming home.
All the pain of yesterday.
Now, he did start strong, but he didn't exactly finish the same way. After his mother comes in and makes the date about herself, he proceeds to serve the woman raw meat twice. He also speaks in a sincere way and still manages to brag about his singing, art, and talk about fate, which if anything should be pretty obvious confirmation that James is not playing a character. Right?
I don't know.
Actually, it seems James is somewhat self-aware. Kind of, but also not at all.
I can't tell.
Let me explain. James has seemed to become somewhat self-aware in recent years as seen by his reaction to certain posts. With some other prominent internet figures, the answer is usually a clear yes or no, but James is somewhere in the middle. You see, it's clear James is being his authentic self online. This leads to people latching on to certain things he says, not understanding why he sees these posts get lots of interaction, and proceeds to post more like him.
You know, I don't blame James for having confidence, bro. Like, you need someone to believe in you, and he believes in him. We all need to take a lesson from James. You have to believe in yourself, you know? and then let fate guide you.
Head, this means, oh, people like this post, I should make more of them. This does tend to blend in with a lot of his normal posts, so while he's self-aware to some extent, he's also a moron, tying in with the largest overarching theme of James's life. Why is he famous and why do people like him? Clearly, James doesn't really know, but it doesn't matter. Thus why he has the ego he does. The real reason he's famous now is because people gawk at him and laugh at him. But if he became fully self-aware, people wouldn't find him nearly as interesting.
Exactly.
Going back to the Chinese dating show, I mean, I'm sure you could claim it's dramatized to some degree, but James is clearly delusional about himself. The way the equation stands is James will do something to him that is normal as he shares his entire life online. This thing will blow up and he'll keep doing it, hence why he's still doing Gangnam Style and Water Bucket Challenge 10 years later. So in a weird way, the internet has shaped the life and personality of a nearly 40-year-old man to become this, when it usually tends to shape the life of children.
Hey, this is what more children are gonna be like in their 40s. Y'all get prepared. Some of y'all classmates gonna be just like James. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all gonna be going to college with someone like James.
But in all fairness, he is a bit of a
I saw you. I see y'all, Meezy. I see you. Man, I think James is just, over. He's just not, he's misunderstood. He's just very a self-confident person, and self-confidence can come off as crazy when you're crazy.